Greetings. Now, if you're up from New England, you know that this month, the month of March, or maybe it's just this week, not sure, but it's supposed to be maple syrup. Is it National Maple Syrup Month? I'm not sure. I know that our governor, Governor Baker of Massachusetts, declared this week to be maple syrup. So, now does that mean anything? No, it doesn't. All it means is that the people that are doing maple syrup, and they've been doing it for a long time, really don't care what day it is. All we care about are warm days and cold nights. And those are what we need in order to have good sap running. The warm days draws the water up from the roots of the sugar maple, and then they tap the trees, and once it reaches a point where the nights are warm to a point and the days are warm around the same temperature, it doesn't work. Last year we had a very poor time of year. But that's not really what we're supposed to be talking about today. So was it yesterday or the day before? I get my days confused sometimes. But anyway, there was some day this week that was National Backup Day. We're supposed to be thinking about backing up your computers and your phones so that if you have a crash or for some reason your data gets lost, like there are some malware out there that people hijack your data on your phone or your computer, and you have to pay them money for a password so that you can actually get your data back. Now, if you have a good backup going on your computers, whether that's Mac or PC or phone or iPad or so forth, then you're not going to really care. You're going to tell them to go, themselves, and that you're on your own. And then you'll be putting up some kind of blockage to make sure they don't do it again. But in the meantime, you're just going to reload your system software, install all over, restore, and you're good to go. Now, I can guarantee, because it's happened to me, is that the chances are that you're going to get a corrupt file system when you least expect it. You're going to reboot. There's going to be all kinds of ways. You're going to go looking for something and realize that you don't have a file system. Or your system just won't work. Your system crashed and it won't boot at all. And your only way to get it running again is to do a full system reload of the system software, which means you've lost all of your files that you had on that system. And that's the importance of a backup. Now, I have a Western Digital backup running on my computer that I bought years ago, and it says it's working. I think it's working, but tell you the truth, I'm not sure if it's working. I used to use Carbonite, and I was and I actually had some crashes that I had to restore my system from Carbonite, and it does work. The only thing about Carbonite is you have to pay extra for videos, and the more videos you have on your system, the more of a problem if you have a crash. particularly if you don't have a copy of them anywhere. So I have different kinds of videos. I have some movies that I've legally obtained, and I have all my YouTube videos, and so forth. And over the years, I've accumulated quite a pile. Whether I really need to keep them or not anymore, I don't. It's a kind of a questionable thing, but I do have them. When you use someplace like Carbonite, you're backing up your system online. And and what it does is if your house burns down, you still have a backup floating around out there in the ether somewhere that you can restore from. Chances are if your house burns down, your backup is the least concern to you. But it is something to consider. It's not that expensive. It's maybe $70 a year. Even if you do some kind of backup in the house, and then you have your files being backed up somewhere else, at least you have access to your documents and so forth. Those kind of things that are probably a little bit more important than a bunch of YouTube videos. So, a few days ago, I was watching one of Carey Holzman's videos, and he was interviewing a very nice gentleman from Acronis backup software, and they talked a lot about doing backups. So I thought about it, and I thought about it some more, and I really been procrastinating. Does anybody out there procrastinate? I am probably the chief procrastinator. I think about things, and I think about it, and I think about it, and I think about it. And then eventually I make a decision, but sometimes it's too late. I'm sure there's no one out there that makes the decision too late. So, for $130, I got myself a Seagate external drive. This is a 6 terabyte external drive. Now, do I need a 6 terabyte? No, I don't need a 6 terabyte. My system is maybe 2 terabytes of data. But what you can do is you can do a full system backup and then do incremental backups and then eventually flip again. Do I want to buy a 4 and then buy a 6 in 6 months when I find out that I don't have enough room? It was kind of interesting because when I was first learning, when you're learning software like, say, Adobe Premiere or Photoshop, and you're taking a class, this is with a really cool example. So you're doing a class, and you do the things that they're asking you to do to try to get a certain special effect on a photograph. And then all of a sudden, in a snap of a finger, you just wiped out all the things you've been working on for maybe an hour because you didn't back up. So that's something you want to do, is to set it up so that it's backing up a bunch of little stages. It's the same thing with doing a backup on your system. You may do a full system backup every Sunday morning when you're supposed to be sleeping. Chances are, you know me, I'm awake, but you're supposed to be sleeping. And then you can have incremental backups done that's just updating the things that have changed each day of the week, and then the following Sunday the same thing. Or you can change it out any way you want. But it gives you the room to have space. It's not much of a difference between a 4 and a 6. Now, I bought this one off of Amazon, but it's basically the same price wherever you bought it for the Seagate external drive. And that's why I've been procrastinating because I've been looking around for the best deal and everybody had it for the same price. So we're going to open this baby up here and see what's inside. I already cut the tape. And basically what it is, it's just like what I have for my editing software discs. It's an external drive. Oh, how nice! They give me some coupons to get onto Adobe Premiere. Isn't that nice? Apparently they don't know I already have them. So we got all this extra stuff. So we have the drive, nothing fancy, it's just a box. Now I would have liked to have feet, so it wouldn't tend to topple. Maybe there's some feet in the box, but I bet there aren't. It doesn't show any in the picture. Let's see, we have power supply and we have a cable. No feet. I think the feet would be a good thing. So we got another power supply, which is just what I need. I need another power supply. There we go. So we got a power supply and we've got a cable. So the power supply is a USB 3, like it better be. It's got one of these funky ends on it, like it has a power connector on it. But it has a power connector. I think my desk is laid out perfect until I add something to it that takes up space. And it's all over again. I guess I could just put it over here on top of my UPS. That would probably be fine. So it also has two USBs. Two USB 3s. I don't know if they're hot ones or not. Like I said, well, I guess I can lay it down flat. That would probably be a good idea because I have cats. And you know what cats like to do? They like to flip things over. It's like their mission in life. You put up all your pictures up on a shelf, and the next thing you know, they're all laying down flat. Or they've been knocked off the shelf because they're in their way. And they're just pictures. They don't care about the pictures. They're not of them. If it was the pictures of the cats, they wouldn't have been knocked over. The power plug and the connectors on the bottom. So this isn't going to stand up straight. it's either going to be like this or flat. So I'm just going to lay it flat. Now I bet there's instructions that say that I should plug everything in first before the power goes in. I definitely want to have a good upgrade done before I get to that point of upgrading my system. Now, as you know, if you followed my other video of building your own PC, I'm going to be upgrading my system to a little bit more powerful, computer than I have now. And of me transferring everything over. Reloading software. It's going to be fun. So having a reliable backup prior to doing anything work on your computer is also really important. Because things can happen just too easily. So we're going to go over here and boot up Acronis. So I have no idea how to do this. So I am just going to wing it. Change source. See, now this has mobile phones on it. Well, you know what I'll do is I'll do an initial backup, and then I'll go in and set up the days of the week. I think I might have set it up as every other day. So that's probably something like where it's at. So now I'm using Acronis. And you can get some good deals for Acronis. You can buy Acronis off their website, and you can also often get Acronis on like Newegg or Amazon or places like that have a discount. And often they'll run sales like they might have a deal on Carey Holzman's channel. And there might be other channels. And they probably have their own channel. So you can scoot around and see if you can find it a little cheaper. Now I have the whole version. And you can also subscribe to it on a yearly basis. So then, every year you would have to renew it. Well, I have the 2018, and there's a 2019, and then I'm sure there'll be a 2021, So I'm going to leave it there. Back up your data. Back up your data. Back up your data. Back up your data. Well, good morning. So last night we did a backup of my system to the Seagate. And today I'm going in and fine-tuning Acronis. Now there are and by the way, I should mention to you a tip about passwords. Now you can put a password on your backup. And it's probably similar with Acronis, it's probably similar with other programs, is that, particularly in the case of, you might set a password on your system and then forget it. And you may as well forget your backup because you're not going to get into it. Acronis has no way to go back in and help you find out what that password was. You can't reset it or anything because it's being logged in onto the hard drive and not onto a server. So you might want to just not do the backup thing. If you really have to use the backup, make sure you have your password written down somewhere safe, like in your passport or someplace. Don't leave it trusted to, a password file that you're keeping on your computer. Actually, write it down. So, I've gone back over here to the Acronis TrueImage backup software, and as you can see on the screen, when I've gone into backup, now we have some options. So in advanced setting, you can tell it when to do the backup. And so I'm going to set up, let's go around 3 a.m. There's a possibility, even if it's slim, that I'm not going to be at my computer at 3 in the morning. And I'm just going to set to do a daily backup. That way, if I do something critical or do something stupid, I'm only back by a day. Show notifications on insufficient free space. So when the hard drive fills up, I could set it up to send an email to myself. Now, exclusions is when you don't want to have it back up certain things, like it makes sense not to back up the drive that I have full of videos over and over again, because so that I need to know that drive. So we go over to this PC. That would be G. So I can add in G, which is the video drive that I have everything loaded on. Now, it would make sense when I do the rebuild to add another drive that has videos on it, the second drive for videos. Now, it would make also sense to go to a 2 terabyte drive, and that would save power also, but I happen to have an abundance of 1 terabyte drives. So, do I shell out more money right now, or do I not shell out more money? Ultimately, I'll save electricity. And then we have our advanced setting, where we have other options. So there you go. So we're all set here with this. And now, right now, what it's going to do is every day it's going to do a backup, with the exception of that C drive, the G drive. And I actually have that G drive backed up. I have an old drive with it that I have put away. It's not a very secure way of doing it. I have the same drive mirrored onto my entertainment computer. Eventually, when I can see good deals on terabyte drives, I'll go with SSDs. Convert those drives to SSDs. And that'll just make them all that much more secure. So, there we go. I hope you've enjoyed my video on backing up your computer. I've had a number of computer crashes, and I've had a number of customer computer crashes when I used to service customers' computer systems. And needless to say, they weren't too happy when they lose data. And I would ask them, well, did you back it up? And they would say, is that our job? And I'd say, yes, that's your job. I had a customer that used to do tape drives, um, the large coil tape drives, and they would back them up every day, the whole system. And they'd have a whole row of a whole cabinet full of tapes. They keep a 30-day supply of backups for all of their document creation system. So, it's not really, unless you have nothing to back up, it doesn't really matter, but everybody has something. Everybody has their phone. I can remember getting a message from my mobile phone provider saying we'll no longer back up your contact list. It's no longer our responsibility. So, well, that's nice. Oh, there you go. Back up, back up, back up. The fairy's working with you. Go give a fairy a hug. Da 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 da. Da 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 da.